So SpaceX was in the news today. You may have heard this, that today, September 8th, that they got some licenses from this company called EchoStar out of Inglewood, Colorado. And we're going to take a look at that news, see how this can change your potential future of your cell phone service. There was something that's kind of a big deal, I think, in the news today about that. Then this is going to be kind of cool. I'm going to walk through a stock trade I made and why I decided to buy a stock that's connected with all this today. So let's jump into the news portion of this first. Over at Reuters, we see that SpaceX buys wireless spectrum from EchoStar in $17 billion deal. So just to briefly mention here what was going on, there was some wireless spectrum licenses that SpaceX bought from EchoStar, and basically they're wanting to try to move this quicker where you can get cell phone access anywhere in the world. Instead of having to go through these cell phone towers, that you're going to link more directly to the satellites, the Starlink satellites in space, outer space. SpaceX has launched a bunch of these satellites, and they're just going to be another way that you can connect to your cell phone or the internet. So let's see if there's anything else. I think that's basically the bulk of what's going on. The company said they'll expand cell networks capacity by more than 100 times. So that just tells you the power of this. And the other thing, and we're going to get back to this a little here shortly, but this really sent this EchoStar company's stock surging today. It went up, this says 19% in early trading. I think it's been up over 200% for the year. And that's kind of the basic rundown of what's going on here. So let's pivot over to, so SpaceX is not a publicly traded corporation, so you cannot buy their stock on the, through a brokerage. But this other company, EchoStar, you can. So let's look at this stock here, EchoStar, and just kind of see what's been going on with it. So today at the close of trading, it closed at $80.63. After hours trading, it's been up $1.93. And I'll want to also share, this is not financial advice. If you want to make these decisions on trading stocks or whatever, talk to a financial advisor. So none of this is financial advice. I did used to be a financial advisor for a number of years, but I'm not currently licensed. And again, this is not financial advice. But I will just kind of walk through how my thought process on this and why I decided to buy some of this stock here today. So, and one thing, it's been a little while since I've looked at an individual stock, but I did not know this after hours trading thing is not something you could always do. So that was kind of cool to see that you can, if you have a brokerage account with, TD Ameritrade or Robinhood, you can actually trade well after 4 o'clock Eastern when the stock market closes. So this stock here, we've got a better chart over here. So let's look at this chart here. So this is a 1-day chart, but this thing really gets more interesting if you go out. So let's start off with the whole history of this stock, of this company, just to give you an idea what's going on here. So this is back to 2008. Looks like this company went public. The stock came in trading $32 and pretty quickly went down to $12 a share. But this is the interesting part. When this news came out, this stock was, going along at, maybe on average $25 here. and then shot up to about $80 here very quickly. And also, by the way, on high volume of buying volume. So if you learn technical analysis, you'll see this is a good sign when there's a lot of buying and the price goes up at the same time. That's a sign that you might want to consider looking at this stock. This is not a good sign when there's a bunch of selling and then you see stuff happen, when you see movement. Well, when you see this and then you see it go down, that's not a good sign. But I am seeing a lot of green here, a lot of buying, and supply and demand does affect stock prices. So even if it's a terrible stock and there's a ton of people buying it, that can still drive the price up. Example, do you remember GameStop just in the last year or two, whenever that was? Not fundamentally a great company, but since a bunch of people got together and decided to buy it, it drove the price up. So let's zoom in a little bit. Let's go to year to date. This will give us another look here at this jump here. So it was right around August 25th that this thing went on. Again, it was hovering around $30, $25, and then October 25th, 6th, October 25th is when this thing started to take off. And today is September 8th. So it's looking like possibly, so this is another thing. I saw this on Twitter today at Levels.io. He was saying maybe insider trading, because ahead of all this announcement this morning, the stock started to jump, and not just a little bit. Like it went from 30 to, even before this announcement came out, it was already up to like $70. So we have year to date of what's going on. Again, this is a good sign with lots of buying and the price going up. From a technical analysis side, that's a very good sign. And we come into 3 months. You can see this even more here. October 25th, stock price jumps up. So I'm wondering if October 25th, maybe some other people got wind of this news of SpaceX buying these EchoStar licenses. And then we'll come down to 5 days, and you can see this is back before October 20. Actually, the 1 month is going to be a better one. You can see it there. So there's a few things to think about here with this. They did make I believe it was around August 1st, they made an announcement of how things were going and the reports on second quarter. And I think the news was not the best. So we see just the stock kind of going sideways there. The company's had some debt problems. They're not going to make their next earnings announcement, I think, till November. They're going to make a third quarter. So third quarter ends, I think their fiscal year, so they would end at September 30th. So they're going to make probably their next earnings, how things went, sometime past the end of September. We do want to know that. That's important to know. Yes, so they do make their third quarter announcement sometime in November. I found November 11th is what I see here. So my play here, what I'm thinking on this is this volume is driving this thing up, and fundamentally not the best company, although this is good news that this is going to pay off some of their debt. It's going to help them, their financial statements. It's going to put them in better shape. They also are going to get access to Starlink. That was something kind of important I forgot to mention. Let's see here. Yes. The company also agreed the deal to enable EchoStar's mobile boost subscribers to access Starlink direct-to-cell service to extend satellite service to areas without service. So EchoStar's mobile subscribers are going to get access to the Starlink. When they're out of range of cell phone towers, they're going to get access through Starlink's, the space satellites I was mentioning. So that is a good thing for the EchoStar. So basically the play here that I'm coming at is we see SpaceX involved here. We see this potential good news for EchoStar. Definitely, I think this is good news for SpaceX. But technically, we're seeing something happening here that's kind of exciting. There's this whole saying in stock trading, the trend is your friend. So I think when these third quarter earnings come out, third quarter ends the end of September, but the reports don't get made till November. There's a little window here where we can kind of see what's going to happen with this news. And then when this third quarter report comes out, that could either make this momentum increase even more, or it could bring the stock back down. So I think there's a little window of time here between, September 8th through the end of October where we can see what this stock's going to do. And sometimes when a stock gets in like around 80, or maybe, this happens with Bitcoin too, there starts to get conversation of maybe it's going to hit 100. And then there's sometimes kind of a wall at those big numbers like 100 where it might not go too much over that. So I think there's a few things going on here where I'm just going to take a gamble on it and see what happens. And worst case, this thing might drop back down to, I could put a stop loss on it to keep it from going way back down. This is going to be money that I'm not going to, if I lose it, I'm not going to be too concerned about it. But I think there's a few things going on here where there could be an opportunity for this thing to shoot up to 100 even before the third quarter earnings get reported in November. And I would plan to get out of this before those reports come out. To me, that's going to be too risky with as little as I know about this whole situation. The things I do know, I think there is a window here where I'm willing to take a shot. So what I decided to do was an after hours trade. I decided to buy 19 shares, so it's called SATS. When you buy after hours, you have to do a limit trade. So you can't do a market order after hours. A limit trade just says that you're going to buy at a certain price. And I put in the order, and we'll see. Now, if it goes to 100, I just said if it goes up 30%, it'll be at 104. So a 30%, to me, it's worth trying this out here. So let's say you have 1,500 and it grows by 30%. It'd be about a $500 profit, a 30% profit. But again, this is only within a window of 2 months. So a 30% return in 2 months is really, remember, you're talking about annualized returns because there's 6 2-month periods a year. That would actually be 180% annualized. If you make 30% return in 2 months, that's 180% return. It's 30% in 2 months, but if you were to get that annually, 30% every 2 months, that's 180% return. So so that's my thought process on this. Curious to know your all thoughts. What do you think about this? Am I just being retarded, and is this a bad thing, or do you like this? And again, I've got a lot of experience with investing. So, would you like to hear a video of me seeing the results of this? So be curious to know if you want to leave a comment, and hope you enjoyed this video.